The results from my CT scan are back. It was a shock. And I'll share that with you today. Welcome to Travels in My Chair. I'm Denise. Today is all about my metastatic breast cancer, the results of my CT scan, and how I'm proceeding forward. At the beginning of December, I was scheduled for a CT scan, one where they put the dye in you, and so this one was going to do my lower area and my middle area, chest. About a week later, my doctor phoned and he told me that unfortunately it looked like the tumors were before they're at the sacrum, and there was one tumor and a soft tissue tumor at my right hip pelvic area. Now it looked like there was tumors in my L3 and L4 on my spine and in my left hip area. It was interesting because when the oncologist originally had scheduled me for the CT scan, I think one of the reasons was because I was complaining about my left hip and buttock area, which, to be perfectly frank, has always given me pain since I was first diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And it would be a pain that would be very bearable during the day, but by the nighttime, because my left foot wanted to fall down, it didn't want to hold itself up, it was pulling on all the tendons and muscles and stuff in my leg. It would be really painful, and it was hard for me to go to sleep at night. All of a sudden, that pain had changed, so it was more intense during the day, and at nighttime it was unbearable. Like sometimes, even with the hydromorphine that they've given me for pain, it would take me 3 or 4 hours before I could go to sleep. I mentioned this to the oncologist when we spoke in November, and she said, I think what I'm going to do then is schedule a CT scan for you. And I said, fine, because I need to know what's going on. So when the results came back that the tumors had spread, even with the Ibrance and the letrozole that I'm on, I was shocked because in my mind, I thought, these drugs are working. I don't have any pain in my right hip where the tumor is supposed to be in the pelvic area. And so, yahoo, the tumors are shrinking. I know they never go away. I've got cancer. It's not going to get cured. I just want to make that point perfectly clear. But I thought, well, 3 things will happen. Either the tumors have shrunk, the tumors have stayed the same, or the tumors have spread. Shocking when the doctor phoned and the tumors had spread, because to me it seemed like they'd spread quite rapidly, because I had my last CT scan done in July. So 5 months later, even with the drugs I'm on, and I'm also getting the pomegranate, the bone infusion too now, I was just like, okay. So my family went into a major sadness. Phoned the kids. I thought to myself, okay, well, I guess this is it. The tumors are spreading quickly into the bone. I'm glad that I've got all my documents, my will, my end of life, who I want to receive certain things of mine. I'm glad I've got that all under control. When I was first diagnosed in 2006 with breast cancer, I made a bucket list of all the things I wanted to have happen in my life, because I thought at that time I had a couple of years to live. And Alan and I accomplished everything on that list. We took multiple trips. We did home exchanges. We went to England a couple of times. And every year we were doing something as my strength allowed. And then, of course, because I'm here, you guys know I didn't die. Surprise! Well, now the reality was that I might. And I'm not going to say I wasn't sad, but I didn't cry, and I kind of went to the black humor place, like making really inappropriate jokes and so forth. My family, as you can imagine, took it very hard. I was really kind of accepting the place that I didn't want to go yet was, okay, this is the end, and you just better make sure that you've got everything, your house in order before you can't do that anymore. And then a week ago, I had to go for a bunch of blood work, because when I'm at the end of my Ibrant cycle of 21 days, during that week that I'm off, the doctor, my oncologist, wants me to get blood work done. They also want me to get blood work done to establish my kidneys. So I had a scheduled phone appointment with my oncologist on Wednesday. And I thought, as I'm talking to the oncologist on Wednesday, I'm thinking, well, she's not talking about the tumors. Like, I know they've spread. I talked to my family doctor. I said, finally, I said to her, so I understand from the results of my CT scan that my tumors have spread. And there was a pause on the phone, and I went, when you're talking to doctors on the phone, you've got to learn how to read those pauses. They mean so much more than words. She said, well, I'm not sure that they're tumors. I went, what? Did I hear you correctly? She said, well, when we got the results back from your blood work that you just did on Monday, it showed that your white blood cell count was up, whereas it had been low, and your tumor markers have all lowered. I went, oh. So she said, I'm not 100% sure that those lesions, that she called them, which are in the L3, L4 lower spine tailbone area, and yes, the left hip area, which has been giving me all that pain. Thank gosh I told her about that. Remember what I've always said, guys. Tell your doctor everything. Come clean. It'll do you good in the end. I went, not tumors. I just assumed that you were either going to book me for chemotherapy or you were going to radiation. I just, well, I'm not really sure radiation is the best option right now, because I'm thinking maybe that what you got is sclerosis. Sclerosis. After I got off the phone with her, I realized that, well, I have sclerosis. I have multiple sclerosis. Not the same. After doing some research, I might have to read some of this because, and remember guys, and I've said it before, I am not a doctor and no way medically trained. Me and Google, we've been having a bit of a relationship the last couple of days. So at first when she told me that she thought perhaps that it was sclerosis, my husband went to, well, sclerosis he feels is of the liver, and I'm going sclerosis is of the bone in my head from just different things I've heard or knew. I don't know. Sclerosis. What is it, really? If you eliminate multiple sclerosis out of that equation. Sclerosis in the bone is an abnormal increase in the density and hardening of the bone. So whereas it may not be tumors, it's still not a walk in the park. Okay? Sclerotic bone lesions can be part of metastatic malignancy, notably in breast cancer or prostate cancer, but it is uncommon. Well, of course, why would I get something that's common? Because, you know, that's not me. So commonly it affects areas like the pelvis, spine, ribs, and the skull. So that makes me a little bit more anxious about getting the CT scan next month for including my head. You can Google it. I mean, there's all kinds of sclerosis. Some affect the organs, some affect the bone, and you've got multiple sclerosis. You know, there's all different kinds. So, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to scare myself, but it just puts a whole other spin on everything, doesn't it? I've had a reprieve. Somebody wants me to hang in there for a little while longer, I guess, which is good. My family are just ecstatic, as you can imagine. We've run the gambit of everything in the last month, from fear to rage to extreme sadness. In fact, my daughter Andrew said, "Mom, don't worry." Earlier in the month, "Don't worry, Mom. You know, we'll take care of Dad. We'll take care of Dad. We'll make sure he's okay." The interesting thing about all this, though, before the call with the oncologist, and I can understand my doctor feeling that they were tumors because I hadn't had the blood work done yet that showed that the markers were lowered. And if those markers hadn't lowered, then my oncologist would have probably still thought the lesions were tumors also. I hadn't had the blood work done. We thought they were tumors. I had myself getting ready to march on to the end of my life. As you would, right? Because, I mean, the tumors have spread into my bone. They've spread further and quicker than I'd anticipated. The drugs aren't working. However, this is what my oncologist said. "Oh, the drugs are working." I went, "Oh?" She said, "Oh yeah, it takes a while. I told you that, you know, we would make adjustments as necessary. But with your tumor markers lowering and your white blood cell count improving, that tells me that the drugs are working. It's just slow." She said, "I think what we'll do is we'll put you on 2 more rounds of the Ibrance." So that's 2 months worth. "I'll schedule you for the CT scan in January, and then we'll revisit all that after the CT scan, after the next set of blood work." But she said, "You know, Denise, you remember letrozole. You were on it for a long time and you had really amazing results with that." Wow. Wow. What else can I say? I'm pretty emotional the last few days, I have to tell you. It's been a few tears, which I hadn't shed up until now. I was sort of accepting what was going to happen is going to happen. I won't go down without a fight, I think. But I think you guys also know, if I haven't mentioned it before, that I always go to the worst place when I'm told something, and then I slowly work my way out of that, and I go through all the scenarios, whether it be an argument, whether it be bad news, anything like that. That's how my brain works. And my brain also works in a way that it doesn't actually like to hear bad things, so oftentimes it just shuts the bad things out, and I only hear good things. So I came out of my phone conversation with my oncologist going, "Oh my God, I'm okay, I'm gonna be fine. It isn't tumors." And then I started reading about sclerosis. You know, sometimes you gotta stay away from Dr. Google, really. But in this case, I wanted to know because I didn't realize how many different kinds of sclerosis there were. And it was really quite fascinating, yet way out of my depth reading. But I knew instinctively when I've been having these pains in my left hip, my buttock area, that I have to be super careful about myself falling because I don't want to break a bone. So that's where I'm at with that. So if the bone is hardening and radiation isn't going to be the answer, then I'm not sure what, if anything, that they will do. So that means me, I have to be careful and not put myself or anybody that loves me in a situation where I could endanger myself. Because I'm vulnerable right now. The other night we were getting ready for bed and I said to my husband, Alan, wow, that's quite the news, eh? I mean, the tumors, if it's true and the tumors aren't spreading, that's quite the news. He says, yeah, I guess I better get my name off all the dating sites. And I said, oh yeah, I better phone all my friends and tell them, even though they love you for your baking, you're out of the market. We both laughed about it. Went to bed. You got to have a sense of humor, but you've also got to look at things face on, don't hide, and be totally honest with your healthcare professionals and your family and your friends. Like, it can be uncomfortable when you're with a group of your friends. You don't want to sit and talk about cancer because it brings everybody down. But on the other hand, as my friend Leslie said, I'll be there for you. I'm not going to sit and cry my eyes out, but I'll be there for you. And that's how everyone in my family and my friends feel. I've got an amazing group of people that are on my side, including you guys. You're amazing. The comments that you make are so heartening to me, especially when Angela and I did the Turtle Bar video. I was really anxious about the CT scan and the results, impending results of that. And you guys were so funny, but supportive. And I'm here with my CT story and my cancer story because I want you guys to know that you're so much more than the cancer that you are dealing with. Really, you are so much more than that. And you never know. Like, I was ready to figure out where I want my ashes scattered a week ago. Seriously. And now I'm looking forward to planning another motorhome trip. So you just never know. Thank you for joining me. I think I'm going to take a little bit of time off and spend Christmas with my family. We got 15 for Christmas dinner. Grandkids everywhere. It's going to be fun. At least this year, there won't be that cloud hanging over us. And I will see you soon. Merry Christmas. Remember to spend time with your family. Tell someone you love them every single day. Bye for now.